Hey there, Postal here. So today we're taking out the ME-109TL. And we're going to see what we can do here to have a positive impact on this battle. On the enemy team, we've got a 262, which is basically what this plane wants to be. Problem is, the 262 has a lot more going for it. So we'll see how well we can do this. I am a multi-role, not a heavy fighter. However, again, this really would have preferred to have been a heavy fighter. It was built to compete with the ME-262. The 262 ended out on top in that competition, which is why the 262 is the 262. But this has some positives going for it. One of them is, to be honest, the guns. You've got some consistency when it comes to these guns. You've got two 20mm and two 30mm, which can give you some flexibility that you wouldn't necessarily have with the 262. The 262 is all 30mm cannons, which is great for doing super high amount of damage, but can be a little bit frustrating as far as their accuracy is concerned. Let's go ahead and get this TU2 knocked out if I can. But I play this plane as similar to the 262 as I possibly can. Obviously, you got a decent amount more maneuverability. You've got worse airspeed and significantly worse altitude performance. And what are we doing? I guess we got this sector, huh? So let's go ahead and see if we can't get rid of this guy here. And there we go. This, of course, is a Tier 8 premium German multi-role fighter. You've got one bomb on the bottom, which I haven't even used yet, and two air-to-ground rockets, which are pretty darn weak. So you don't get that air-to-air capability that a 262 has, but you got some flexibility with your air-to-ground capabilities. We're gonna just sit there and take that. Let's see if we can't drop a bomb here. Take advantage of a bomb drop. Need to watch out though for that guy. I said bomb drop. Oop. That was a pretty bad bomb drop, to be honest. Let's see if I can't. Oh, nice. Got the forward airfield. Let's get rid of this meteor. Here we go. Got an F2G over here we can try to get. This is definitely one of the faster multi-rolls at Tier 8. It's got okay maneuverability. You really don't want to be going against any other multi-rolls, though, as far as turnability is concerned. When you're going against multi-rolls, treat the ME-109TL as if it was a heavy fighter, because you're not going to be able to outmaneuver things like that F2G, or for that matter, this F4U. But he's not paying attention to us, so we'll kill him. Now, when you're going against things like P-47, you've actually got a little bit more maneuverability than they've got. Let's go ahead and get my boost on here. Looks like I got a fighter behind me who's just going to want to chase me. Don't know if I'm actually going to have the... Oh, it's an LA-9, so I should be able to outspeed him. We'll see. Keep our speed on. Turn back around. Again, taking these engagements as if I'm a heavy fighter. If I do that, I'm going to have a little bit more success. We need to get to the center here. Got my bomb and my rockets back, so let's go ahead and take advantage of those. Come on, people. Get our altitude down a little bit so that way we can try to be a little bit more effective. Let's drop the rockets and go. Get rid of this F4U4 again. It's just not paying attention to us, so we'll take advantage of that. Keep on keeping on here. Oop, I'm kind of all out of boost, aren't I? The answer is yes. We got the sector anyway, though. Oh, he did come back. It's my own fault for not paying attention. I thought he had dived away. We were able to get the sector, though. I'm going to defend this sector a little bit. The ME-109TL is not the best at defending sectors, but do I want to defend the sector? Actually, I'm going to spawn here and go this way. Get our boost on, get some altitude performance. Take advantage. Our altitude's good for a multi-roll. It's not necessarily good for a tier 8 plane, but it's good for a multi-roll, so let's at least take advantage of that. Try to get... Come on. I used up all my boost like an idiot. Don't necessarily want to be an idiot, but sometimes you gotta be what you are. There we go, got the sector, perfect. Alright, there's that 262. He's inbound again. He's got air-to-air rockets, but he's not really paying attention to us, so let's take advantage of his inability to pay attention to us. Oh, super bad timing on the kill on him. I mean, super bad for him, not necessarily for me. Let's defend the center a little bit here. If we can defend the center, we should be able to lock this game in. TU2. Alright, I didn't want to get the kill on that anyway. Ooh, let's get rid of this F4U4, excuse me. Can't turn with him, so I won't. And I think he just crashed into somebody. That's just weird. Alright, looks like we defended the center pretty darn well. Let's keep moving here. Remember, we are playing as if we are a heavy fighter, because that's what we are. We are a wannabe heavy fighter. Saved some boost here as LA9's a little bit higher up than he should be. And again, we're going to be higher up than we want to be. Going to use my pneumatic control assist here to try to turn back around relatively quickly. Oh, he's dead anyway. Alright, let's get rid of this meteor. If we can. There's also a multi-roll inbound on us. This guy's actually going to be a better option. He was moving towards us. Plus I've got speed on him where I might not necessarily have speed on a meteor. See if we can't get air supremacy here. Maybe neither with that accuracy, huh? Drop my bomb here. Pfft. There we go. Perfecto. Pulled that one out. Not too shabby, nothing like over the top. Well, I guess 20,000 personal points. You can't really argue with that kind of results. But I play this like I would my 262. Difference is you've got more maneuverability with this plane. worse altitude performance, worse overall speed. But you got some flexibility that the 262 doesn't have as well. Let's head on back. Alright, so our ME-109 TL, I just literally specialized this. First game I've played since specializing the plane. 15 kills, 7,300 aerial damage, 9,000 ground damage. Yay. And, you know, all this pilot experience is going towards whatever pilot I want to put in here, which I've got my HG3 pilot in here, building him up. So you've got Marksman 2, Cruise Flight, and Aerodynamics Expert on this particular pilot. We'll take a quick look at my build on this plane. Let's take a quick circle around to the battle. It wasn't overly difficult. No offense to the enemy team, but we were able to just kind of put our plane in a position to succeed. I never felt like the enemy team was pushing me out of my comfort zone. And that's really like, when you're in a multi-role, you always want to keep it in the comfort zone, right? When you're any multi-role it's multi-role because you've got flexibility to be fast when you need to be, or to be maneuverable when you need to be. But what that also means is there's always planes out there that are faster and always planes out there that are more maneuverable. And so you can be pushed into a situation that you don't necessarily want to be in. And I was never put in that position. This particular multi-role I actually don't recommend as an early premium plane. Why is that? Because there's not a lot of flexibility with this plane. You really need to know what you're doing in the game, in general, what you're up against, specifically, to succeed with the plane like this. And so, although the plane looks cool, and, you know, if you like a 262, and you want to have a pocket version of a 262, a lot of people might think this is a great plane to get. I don't recommend it because there's a lot of things you need to know what you're doing. You know, I knew that I could, you know, how to engage with a enemy heavy fighter. I understood how to engage with the enemy fighters and some of the multi-roles if they're more maneuverable than me. Some of the other multi-roles aren't more maneuverable than me, like an I-260 or an Su-9, XP-72. You know, planes like that are actually right on par with my maneuverability, so I knew I could stick with them. But you're not going to know that when you first start the game, right? And so there's always this propensity to try to get yourself a Tier 8 premium just because they're Tier 8 premiums and people like to get them, good earning credits, and good ability to build up pilots. However, that being said, multi-roles in this game, you really want to have an understanding of what you're going up against and what their capabilities are before you even take your plane out. And that's just not going to happen early on in the game. Early on in your career, I should say. I can tell you when I first won this plane, and I got it in a crate way back in the day, I did not like it very much at all. That being said, once I realized that I could play it like a 262 for the most part, that really kind of opened up my eyes to what this plane can do and its strengths and its weaknesses. As far as the build that I've got is concerned for the equipment, I've focused here on my gyroscopic sight, getting some more accuracy on these two 20mm cannons and two 30mm cannons. Otherwise, I've gone all speed on this particular plane, with the polished skin, the uprated engine, and the gas turbine. There's really no point in going with any kind of maneuverability because you're not going to be able to outmaneuver an F2G no matter what, or a BVP-210, or a J7W1, or a Tempest, or a Seafang, or a J21RB. So why even push for that kind of aspect? Instead, I went all in for the airspeed. This wants to be a heavy fighter. All right, let's lean in on that. I'm still more maneuverable, or just as maneuverable as an XP-72, or an Su-9, or an I-260, and so I'm not really losing out on anything in that regard. I do have gas-operated action on here. I actually got a special project of Germany gas-operated action. So the rate of fire is pretty nice right now, although obviously I can get it boosted up even higher. As far as my consumables are concerned, this plane never catches on fire, and even if it did, I'd still use the first aid dressing. I want to get my pilot back in to action as quickly as possible so the guns are not just going everywhere. I actually use pneumatic control assist on here. The argument could certainly be made for emergency control system. I use pneumatic control assist just in certain situations when I want to try to get my guns on target quicker. I do not use it in a situation when I'm trying to like dogfight something. Although the argument could be made if I am in a dogfight with an I-260 Su-9 or an XP-72, then I could use pneumatic control assist to get an edge on those planes if for some reasons I'm up against some sort of turn-build version of those planes. I've got engine cooling on here, and I've got manual engine restart. Now, most of you will know with me, I tend to do improved mixture control over a manual engine restart. That is specific to heavies, and I know this is a wannabe heavy fighter, but it's not fast enough for me to justify putting the improved mixture control on this plane. Because I'm still going to be lacking behind the heavy fighters of this tier, I put the manual engine restart just so I can get my engine back in. That is super important on this plane. And then, of course, universal ammo because it's 10,000 credits, but in my opinion, it's worth it. And yeah, that's my full setup on this plane. I did talk about the 220s and the 230s, so keep in mind, there's obviously going to be a difference on the range. The 20mm cannons are going to have the longer range. And so the argument could be made, keep in mind, you can try to set up your secondary cannons separate from your overall cannon spread, and that way you can just fire your 20mm cannons until all the cannons are at closer range. Didn't really need to do that too much in this particular battle, but it's definitely something you want to keep in mind considering 30mm cannons tend to overheat very, very quickly. These 30mm cannons do a great amount of damage, but they are pretty darn short range. I have experimented with having the bomb and rockets off this plane, but really that's just kind of taking away from its flexibility. Yeah, it adds to the speed of the overall plane, but it's not putting you overpowered speed, so it's not really worth it. I'd rather keep my bomb and rockets on here. You've run into situations where you get 95% of a sector captured and all the enemy airplanes are out of the sector, but you're still at 95%. You just need to do some sort of damage to the ground, and your friendly ground attackers and other multi-rolls just aren't doing it. I'd much rather just have the bomb and rockets on the plane and be able to control the situation myself, rather than having to rely on the friendlies sometimes. And so that's my overall assessment of the ME-109TL. It can be a very good plane. That being said, it's not a plane that I recommend, a premium plane that I recommend people going out and purchasing, especially early on. I really didn't get good at this plane until having it for more than a year, to be honest. I didn't play it all that much the first year I had it, but it took me a while to really understand the nuances of this plane, but then also understand the nuances of its interaction with the enemies and the friendlies for that matter. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this particular video. Another by request, and so happy to play whatever planes I own that you guys might want to see. Feel free to continue to request in Discord. I'll lose track of it if it's a comment, so I do recommend if you do have specific requests, hop into my Discord. I've got a specific channel to video requests. Doesn't even need to be plane requests. If you guys want to see some ships or tanks, God, tanks, I hate tanks right now, or some other game that I might own, I'm glad to listen to you in there and maybe even produce some videos on it. So love to hear from you all, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.